Hello, good morning, and thank you for attending today's webinar. We've just pushed it back slightly because we thought we would observe the 1 minute silence for NHS workers. So thank you for that. Good morning. It's Mike Smith again, ECA Technical Director, and here to introduce the third in our series of Technical Tuesday talks for members. Today is a more general topic and one that is really to induce some thought into where the electrical contracting might see itself in the future. Certainly as we see new technology come along, we often see opportunists enter our established markets as specialists. And when I think really our members are the best equipped to diversify. But I won't go on my soapbox too long. I think there are real opportunities for our members, and I'll hand you over to Shahid in a minute, who will take you through the presentation. Last week we had a good range of questions using the Q&A chat facility, so please don't leave questions right to the end in case we miss them. We will pick them up on the email if we have to, but we'll pick up what questions we can during the session. We've got Gary, Luke and I in the background. We'll be monitoring the questions that come along, but we'll also have a Q&A session as we did last week following the presentation. So without further ado, I'll introduce Shahid and welcome Shahid to the webinar.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. Hello and welcome to the changing world of the electrical sector. My name is Shahid Khan, Technical Manager for the ECA. Today we are going to look at quite a few different topics which have and will create opportunities for our members to thrive and prosper from. The agenda. We will look at some of the major reasons behind the changes to our industry, i.e. the drivers for change, the energy revolution, new and evolving sectors, smart technologies, the opportunities for our members, and finally how we at the ECA can help and support you and your businesses through these changes. The changing world. A lot has changed over the years within the electrical industry, an industry which was founded really on displacing gas as the primary fuel source for lighting, for street lighting within cities. Today electricity has a much bigger remit and is vital for all facets of our lives. This means that the importance of highly skilled electricians has also grown, and in fact the upcoming changes actually make our position stronger, as you will see. New technologies, higher levels of safety, better standards and more stringent legislation continue to force the industry to change, and our knowledge and understanding and skills have to change and have to adapt to meet the new demand. The drivers for change. Apologies about the slides. The drivers for change. The global climate agenda is more palatable to most people now. After Kyoto, the Paris Accord, and hopefully Glasgow later on this year. Also with celebrity involvement and educational drives on sustainability, the message has finally got through that our levels of consumption of natural resources is on a trajectory which can't be maintained. We therefore need to manage our impact on the planet by recycling, perhaps driving electric vehicles, eating less meat, and many other measures in an attempt to prevent global warming and sea levels rising. The government commitments to net zero carbon by 2050 means that some of the measures we are going to discuss become a necessity rather than just a nice to have. Tragic events such as the King's Cross fire, Shirley Towers, the Bradford City Football Club fire, and indeed the Grenfell incident are all drivers for change and better standards. The rapid advancements in renewable technology means that the cost has come down considerably as well. The idea of sustainability and the triple bottom line of people, planet and profit is massive in the construction industry, which has led to the creation of building performance standards such as BREEAM or BREEAM, LEED and Passive House. And the rising cost of fossil fuel supplies from parts of the world which are not really known for stability means our fuel security is never really guaranteed, making the idea of producing our own energy quite attractive. The energy revolution. We are moving towards the fourth industrial revolution, and as was the case with the previous ones, this is achieved by implementing or modifying our energy systems. We have moved from an internet age to an Internet of Things age. Couple this with the need to think strategically about energy consumption and you have the fourth revolution. Electric vehicles, heat pumps, smart technology and BACS, building automation and control systems to control and manage everything, will become the norm for the vast majority of applications. Think of the example of a modern car. If something goes wrong with it, we now stick a computer to it to find out what's happened rather than undoing a bolt. The same will be true for buildings. Prosumer. It all starts with a change in mindset. Rather than the conventional approach of being hooked up to one centralised energy supply, pumping power to our homes and charging us for the privilege, we need to adjust that model slightly and instead have various forms of local generation that can be personally consumed for free, or if there is an excess, it can be pumped back to the grid. And so the idea of a two-way production and consumption model, effectively making us prosumers. This concept is quite widely accepted and will be incorporated in newer versions of BS 7671. Microgeneration. The tried and tested ways of producing renewable energy include solar PV, wind turbines, heat pumps, biomass boilers and solar thermal. There are grants available for some of these technologies under the Microgeneration Certification Scheme, also known as MCS. And for others, like solar PV, for example, the associated costs have reduced to such an extent, making for an attractive proposition anyway without the need for grants. This is just a quick animation showing a solar PV array in action. The light energy, or rather the photons from the sun, are converted to DC electricity by the panels. This can then be consumed by the occupant or fed back to the grid following a DC to AC conversion. Onshore wind turbines. Onshore wind turbines are not that common, however, due to the ability of co-location with solar PV and battery storage, this can be a powerful combination. Similar to it's a hybrid type system, so you've got both your solar PV and your wind turbine, which both feed into a battery. As the stats suggest on the slide, it is also a significantly cheaper method of generation as well. Heat generation. Exciting times with regards to electrification of heat, as the government is committed to not having any new gas connections in homes by 2025. Originally it was 2017, however it's now 2025. The heating demand will have to be fulfilled via a different means, hence the need for heat pumps. Heat pumps. In addition to electrical panel heaters or underfloor heating, there are a few ways of achieving a heat pump solution. You could have a ground source heat pump, you could have a water source heat pump, or indeed an air source heat pump, with air source being the most popular due to the relative compact size of the unit and ease of installation. Biomass boilers. This technology works via burning a sustainable fuel source, e.g. wood pellets, in a super efficient boiler to produce heat. The combustion of the pellets will release carbon dioxide as a result of the process. However, the harmful effects can be minimised by using carbon capture storage measures, which act in a similar way to a catalytic converter on a car. Solar thermal. Cold water is pumped into the solar panel, which harnesses the light energy from the sun to heat the water and glycol mix. Glycol's literally antifreeze. That flows through the panel and into the water cylinder. The heat is then transferred into the cylinder, heating the water within the tank, providing the building with a hot water supply. Ventilation systems. Ventilation systems are something that electricians have never really considered as part of their remit. It's always been a mechanical thing. However, with the improvements in building construction, especially passive house buildings, the fabric is totally insulated so that there are no gaps or cracks to promote natural vent. Hence why we need a mechanical ventilation and heat recovery system to be installed. This piece of equipment needs an electrical supply to power and control its functions. The design and installation of such a system thus falls into the realms of electrical specialists. New and evolving sectors. Electric vehicles. So we are still in the early adopter stage when it comes to electric vehicles, which means we're right at the start of this process. But the growth within the sector will be massive in years to come. However, there are still some barriers to adoption. They are coming down, but they still exist. For example, the limited choice of vehicles. The cost of the vehicles is quite prohibitive as well. Perhaps the most concerning, from my point of view, is the mileage range that can be achieved from a full charge, perhaps not being sufficient for the daily commutes. Also, the charging infrastructure is simply not ready for a massive influx of electric vehicles. The installation of EV charge points is increasing, and the recent changes with BS 7671 Amendment 1 will support the increase. It will support the change. Energy storage solutions. Some of the technologies mentioned previously would be better utilised had a battery storage solution been installed as well. If we take the example of solar PV, the peak demands times are in the morning and in the evening. However, this is when the amount of intensity of available light energy is at its weakest. This means that the PV array is not having the desired impact on reducing the energy bills for the consumer. But if a battery storage solution was attached to the PV system, the maximum solar energy produced throughout the day can be stored within the batteries, ready to be utilised on an evening or in the morning when the demands peak. If we add a layer of control and monitoring into the mix, i.e. a building management system, then it creates a smart solution. Being smart about it. Here, you have the ideal smart solution whereby every item of electrical equipment can talk to every other one via a BACS, a building automation and control system, also known as a BMS, a building management system, in order to make our lives more comfortable and reduce the energy wastage from numerous items left on standby. With this solution, it means that an electric vehicle that is plugged into the charge point will automatically stop charging when the battery is full. Or, if it's sunny outside, the solar blinds will automatically adjust to minimise solar glare and prevent overheating. The artificial lighting will also adjust to maintain a constant lux level within the space. In fact, it is even possible to switch the air conditioning on in this scenario to further maintain an optimum temperature within a work environment or within a home. There are so many possibilities with smart technologies. From a security point of view, for example, a BMS system could be programmed with facial recognition software so that when you approach your front door, the CCTV detects that it's you and sends a signal to the access control door entry system via the BMS, causing the door to automatically open. The sky is very much the limit. BACS, BEMS and BMS. all the names for the control and monitoring of a system which has been programmed to automate everyday tasks. This is the brains behind the smart technology and is the means by which all the signals are interpreted to perform the various desired functions. There is much more to learn, but this is a major area of growth in years to come and should be viewed as a means of achieving true energy management. Because of BMS, a growth area for our members is definitely in the field of technical facilities management, due to our buildings becoming more smarter and thus more complicated. Your standard facilities management teams will need to be supplemented with this extra layer of technical expertise. Virtual or augmented reality and AI. Virtual reality, VR aids designers and clients to see the proposed end results of projects that are still at the design stage. It is therefore an excellent tool for BIM and collaborative working. AI can be used to make the BACS and BMS system smarter with less human interventions. It is the ability for a management system to self-learn and adjust responses to regular tasks based on real-time data and experiential learning. This will aid in using buildings more efficiently and thus cutting down on waste of both time and money. The opportunities. A bit of a recap really on things that we've already covered. The opportunities are vast, including the installation of some or all of the technologies that we've previously mentioned, in particular solar PV and battery storage. Think about the various markets that are open to you, from working on new builds to retrofitting the technologies in existing buildings, to totally standalone systems for the completely off-grid builds. And the maintenance of these systems. Regulation 4 of the Electricity at Work Act mentions that all systems must be maintained so as to prevent danger. It's a big part of what we do. Other opportunities, the installation and maintenance of electric vehicle charge points will be a big growth area over the next 5 years. The government's initiative to prevent the production and importation of new petrol, diesel and hybrid vehicles by 2035 means that the size of the charging infrastructure in the UK must be ramped up quickly to meet the demand. It's a massive area of opportunities for our guys. Smart technologies is full of opportunities. A follow-on from that is that perhaps the majority of smart systems are extra low voltage. They're all ELV systems. And the world of Power over Ethernet, PoE, harnesses this ethos and will be a massive player in the future. PoE provides us with the ability to deliver both power and control over one single Ethernet cable in a plug-and-play system. The opportunities with regards to BMS, BEMS and BACS and other addressable systems has already been covered, and within technical facilities management, as buildings are getting smarter, the maintenance staff will also need to adapt their approach. Therefore, our members are strategically positioned to aid with this shift. How can we help? So you're all aware of the numerous benefits that membership brings. Some things to highlight are obviously the technical helpline. There's access to a library of British standards. We've got legal advice, business help. There's loads of benefits. In addition to that, we also provide numerous technical guidance notes, technical bulletins and application guides. We also input on various industry codes of practice and represent your views at the IET and BSI committees. With regards to the technical team itself, there are lots of varied skills and experience within, in particular on building services, renewable technologies, smart buildings and automation, BIM and much more. We can also provide you with support on microgeneration, electrical energy storage, EV charge points, energy efficiency, smart technology, BMS and BACS, BIM, as well as conventional electrical works. So in summary, As you can see, there are lots of things changing in the industry. A comforting thought is that sockets and lights will always be needed. Just the way that we design and install and configure and maintain may change. New technologies means new skills. However, it must be viewed as a positive, as our industry is at the forefront of the fourth industrial revolution, best placed to embrace the changes. And remember, you're not alone. We are here to help and support you. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Shahid. That was very interesting and obviously a very wide topic, and one that's probably developing every day. Just in terms of, say, PV, Shahid, what is the sort of growth rate that we're expecting over the next few years?
It's a massive growth area. The cost of installation has gone down to such an extent that we don't actually need the grants anymore. It's a viable solution to the whole energy crisis that we're about to face. Our grid is struggling to keep up, hence why effectively we need to support it via the local generation means. The regulations are moving towards that trend with the idea of a prosumer installation. It's all heading that way. Is
that more linked to storage facilities as well now, rather than just straight PV and consumption?
Most definitely. Yeah, most definitely. Battery technology is improving. It now makes sense to invest in Tesla's Powerwall. There are other brands out there, but that as an example, it makes sense to do that. Yes.
And do you think we've got enough brands in the UK other than the one that you mentioned?
Perhaps not. Perhaps that could be an area where people will expand into. Manufacturers will expand into. I know that Mercedes-Benz, for example, have got a similar setup. Unfortunately it's not as good as the Tesla one, hence why people always refer to that one.
Okay. And in terms of EV charging, I mean, we're now seeing some real drivers in this area with government announcements, etc., regarding new car production. I know this is a specialist area of yours, Luke. What's the sort of predictions in terms of EV charging?
Is this directed at me, Mike? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Luke. Yeah, just thinking that's a bit of more of a specialism of yours.
Yeah, sorry, I was just reading one of the questions that came in. So was this about the growth in EV charge points?
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, I think we did a presentation last week, maybe the week before, on the growth of EV charge points in the UK, and yeah, a lot of the barriers to adoption are being significantly addressed. So yeah, we've seen the highest deployment. Obviously, you'd expect that being on an exponential curve going forward, and also because it's being brought in through the Energy Performance Building Directive. All new builds will have to have electric vehicle charge points installed, as a matter of fact, and buildings undergoing extensive renovations as well. But the affordability of vehicles themselves have come down, and also as company car drivers can now get the 0% on benefit in kind, in a couple of years we will start seeing those fleet vehicles filter through to the second-hand market, so therefore being a bit more affordable. And obviously there's still the OLEV grants towards the installation of electric vehicle charge points. So yeah, without a doubt, we will see considerable growth in this area.
Okay, thank you. And Shahid, just in terms of the sort of domestic home, what sort of technologies do you think are the sort of leading the way in terms of new technology development and probably opportunities for contractors?
Definitely within sort of CCTV, audio-visual solutions, security solutions, access control, and then having a layer of BMS to control the entire operation. That's where the growth is, definitely within smart homes as such. It's a big growth area because it's new and exciting. especially for some of the youngsters. It's interesting, you know. It gets you excited about the industry, you know.
Actually, if I can jump in there,
so rather than what you mean, rather than traditional sort of construction industry, that they're actually looking at this as a means of you know, technology and
That's right.
Yeah, proper engineering, if you like, rather than just seeing construction. Yeah. Okay.
I was just going to mention on that as well. We've done a few presentations with colleges and electrotechnical training centres, and the next generation of apprentices coming through, once you start highlighting that they can be part of the solutions to climate change through those technologies, and also the smart sector in particular, we tend to get a really good buy-in from that. So it's showing the next generation that it's not just about the final wires and cables. There's a whole lot of interesting tech out there as well. So I think we'll get a lot more engagement from the next generation coming through.
Great, excellent. Just if we just turn to some of the questions, Gary, you've answered one from Jay. Do you just want to run through that one?
Hiya there, everybody. Hiya, Jay. In particular, does your membership, ECA membership, run alongside the NIC approved contractor scheme, or is it one or the other? If you can see the chat in the group, it says about we are co-owners of NIC. We started a firm called Searchaw some 6 years ago with the electrical safety first, and we are now the co-owners of NIC. ECA membership is often seen as an addition to NIC approved contractor. We offer a whole heap of different benefits to our members. We're a trade association, which differs a little bit. One of the good benefits that you get from ECA, picking them out the air, is the British standards access. I think we give you about £15,500 of British standards for £100 a year, as near as damn it. So if you are a contractor looking to grow, looking to expand your business, as Shahid mentioned earlier about the new technologies and the other benefits, the legal help that we offer, ECA can help your business in that way. It's a different membership to other organisations. It's seen as a step up in some cases.
They're not just obscure standards either, are they, Gary? We've got all the fire related standards. We've got the emergency lighting, the lightning protection systems. So
absolutely,
they're all useful standards.
Yeah. I think a number of people look at the standard and say, you know, 7671 isn't covered because it's not published directly from BSI. It's an IET publication, but many contractors are also installing, you know, emergency lighting. So you've got 5266, even domestic fire alarms, you know, 5839 Part 6, never mind Part 1. So there are lots of standards in there, security standards as well, that are very applicable to most contractors. So absolutely. But yeah, the ECA is a trade association, and the support mechanisms in there in terms of contract, legal, business development, that sort of thing, is where we sort of differ from a certification body like NIC. NIC is just a brand of Searchaw. Searchaw is the company. Okay, what else have we got? There's a question from David Dunn, Avalon. Training courses. I'm not quite sure if there's a specific course that you're sort of looking for. Certainly we could speak to you and talk to you about different courses that are available. I'm not sure whether you're talking about EV charging or whatever, but either get in touch with the regional manager or contact us at Technical, and we can discuss those through with you, no problem at all. Gary, Luke, is there anything else that you want to add?
No, I think it's such an expansive subject that Shahid's covered there. You could go down a whole afternoon discussing various points. But one thing I may mention, there's quite a few battery solutions out there, including VLG Chem, which links in with solar edge systems very nicely. I believe Eaton have a battery storage system as well for domestic and commercial, and also then there's all the commercial grid connected side of things as well. But no, from me, that's it.
Okay, Gary.
The only thing I'd like to add is just echoing one of Shahid's comments, that the world of the electrician is very much changing. Everybody who did an apprenticeship some 20 odd years ago had to strip down motors and rebuild them, and that tends not to happen so much now, whereas it's now a more progressive industry and people are looking at things, and everything that Shahid's talked about today, and we're going to also touch on in the next few weeks, they're all great opportunities for businesses to expand, grow and change, and this is a bit of a shining light in a current dark time. So it's really nice to have a look at these things and say, where do I want my business to go in the next 2, 3, 5 years? Because these certainly do give organisations opportunities to look at diversifying.
Excellent. Thank you, Gary. So if we've got no more questions, Shahid, anything else you want to add?
No, not really, other than what we should be viewing it as is a positive. It's a positive move for us as qualified sparks, and it's something to get us excited and interested about. That's really what it's about. It's a positive spin. It's a good thing. That's it.
Okay, thank you. What I would say to members, keep looking out for guidance on new technology, etc. If you think that you need some guidance on a particular subject, or you want a guidance note writing for members, then please get in touch. We're always open to suggestions. What I was going to do then is probably close at that point, but what I would say is that next week we'll be back at the same time. We're going to have a topic which is very much more specific, and that's on EICRs, or periodic, as we older ones know it as. So all I'd just like to say is stay healthy, stay safe, and thank you and goodbye. Thank you.